Recently we took a naturally aspirated bike and an e-bike to one of our favourite trails, and we tried to find out which one was fastest downhill. Now that was a lot of fun. The e-bike came out on top, so today we've come back with 3 totally different styles of e-bike to try and work out which one is fastest. With me, I've got Toby from Ace Bicycles and Jamie, and we're going to each take it in turns to ride the different types of bike. We're going to do two runs on each bike, and we're going to ride the same track that we rode for the last video. So, kicking off, we've got the Specialized Turbo Levo Expert Carbon. This one is £7,249. Carbon front triangle, alloy rear, 29-inch wheels, 150mm of travel. It's the Bros motor, which is packing 565 watts at peak power. It's got a 700 watt-hour battery and 90 newton meters of torque. Sizing wise, it's a large. It's got 455mm reach and 455mm chainstays. So one of those is long and one of those is short. I don't know which. In the middle, brand new, just launched, is the Turbo Levo SL. And this one is the Comp Carbon, £6,000. Full carbon frame. It's got 29-inch wheels again, 150mm of travel again, basically identical geometry. So the motor in this is packing 240 watts peak power, so less than half that. It's got 35 newton meters of torque, and it's running a 320 watt-hour battery.
So that bike's going to walk all over that bike then, in terms of power?
Certainly uphill it will. So over there we've got Big Ken, the big trucker. That is the Kenevo Expert. That's £6,999. And it's running exactly the same motor and battery as the Turbo Levo over here. But alloy frame, 180mm of travel, dual crown forks, 27.5 wheels. It's basically a downhill bike with a motor. So that's about as extreme as you can get the other way from this, isn't it? And it's got handguards.
Oh yeah.
So
3 miles an hour faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the coil shock's going to make a big difference though, isn't it? Like, the rough bits of track when you're going.
Come on, this is sorry, JD. Yeah. It's not rough.
We saw a few rocks the other time. Yeah, but it's going to carry a bit more speed, maybe.
Is it going to change directions quick? Is it? And depending on test track, I think, like time track, that you take that to a full-on downhill track, and we'd be fighting over that. Maybe you're kind of thinking absolute sort of Surrey sort of trail weapons. You're not going to be overgunned. You're not going to be undergunned. It's going to bring a lot of life back to the trail. That's going to sanitize the trail, and this is just going to. You're going to be happy making speed on this. You know. I think that's going to hit. That's going to sort of top out, and you're going to be wanting more trail rather than more bike. I think that's kind of a sweet spot. And then this is the sort of beauty of like range extender, big day rides, feeling like your trail bike with a helping hand.
So you kind of nailed your colours to the mast there, Toby. You're saying it's going to be that bike. What do you think then, Danny? Where do your feelings lie?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be close, I think. But seeing as Toby's gone for that, I'll nail my colours to the mast with the XL.
So that leaves me with
Big Ken, yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I think like.
But you like that bike, don't you?
I like the bike, and last time we did the challenge, I just felt like the e-bike just monster trucked over things way better and just held your speed, especially in the wet and how boggy it is. So I feel like the extra weight is actually, on certain bits of the track we're going to ride, is actually really going to help. Whereas maybe the SL is maybe going to get bogged down a bit.
But we've chosen basically very much a trail bike track, you know, an average sort of trail descent. There's no big jumps on it. The gradients, there's a couple of steep bits, but not that steep. It's kind of just generally mellow the whole way through, isn't it? So that's it then. Let's go and find out who was right.
Yeah, let's put it to the test. So as Danny said, our test track is the exact same trail used last time for our first e-bike speed test video. If you've not seen that yet, you should check it out because it really was an interesting experiment, as well as being an eye-opener about how e-bikes ride compared to regular bikes. To recap, the track starts and finishes in exactly the same place as for the last video. It's kind of like our Top Gear test track. The first part of our track is tight, slippery and rooty, and it includes a climb of around 8 seconds. Then it breaks out into a high-speed off-camber section before getting super rough at the bottom. It's a great bit of single track, it really is, and it fairly represents the kind of riding we love. Unfortunately, conditions have changed a fair old bit since the last test. Just walking the track proved slippery and treacherous. Our first couple of runs confirmed just how much slicker conditions had become since the last video. Danny actually crashed in the first sighting run. All of us ran wide a couple of times in the top section and had to start again. And there were half a dozen near misses. So let's get right down to the results. Although Danny was faster than JD and Toby faster still, the running order for all three bikes was the same. That's important because it means we can be more confident in the results we had. Toby went quickest on the Turbo Levo. He was over 4 seconds faster on that bike than the SL and a huge 6 seconds faster than on the Kenevo. Danny was also quicker on the Turbo Levo, 1.5 seconds clear of the SL and exactly 4 seconds ahead of the Kenevo. Finally, Jamie went fastest on the Turbo Levo 2. The times were tighter, but he went under a second quicker than the SL and under 2 seconds quicker than the Kenevo. So across the board, everyone got their fastest time on the Turbo Levo, went slowest on the Kenevo, and the SL was somewhere in the middle. So what happened? Why didn't the Kenevo, with its brilliant geometry and big travel, carry its speed better? We reckon that with so much weight to it, the bike was just too cumbersome to manoeuvre through the tight sections, and too slow to pick up speed again after the slow sections of track. Conversely, the low-powered and lightweight Levo SL felt great in the top sections of the track. It was more precise and we could pick our lines better, but it just didn't carry speed as well as the Turbo Levo, and it required a lot more energy to pedal. So top of the pile then is the Turbo Levo. Toby said it would be the fastest bike and he was right. It was light enough to flick between the trees on the tight bits of track, yet still had enough muscle to let us hold the best lines lower down the track. It was the best compromise. Hey, it's not all about speed though. Maybe not even mostly about speed. Mountain biking is mostly about fun. All the bikes were thrilling to ride, but the one that induced the biggest grins was actually the Levo SL. It's the bike that feels most like a normal bike on this trail. Riding the Kenevo kind of felt like you were just along for the ride, but on the Levo SL you were very definitely in charge. You pick the lines, you reap the rewards. Takeaways from this test then. It really is horses for courses. Next time we run our test, we need to find a steeper, rougher track and figure out how much difference that makes. We also found out that Toby is freakishly fast and also quite the savant. And finally, handguards really don't make a bike faster.